You have to understand, because this understanding will facilitate your effective policy making. Policy making is not done in vacuum. It is always supported by the existing social criteria. That has to be taken in mind. Right? So diversity in India, women organizations, empowerment of women, Ministry of Urban Development. So sincere the matter is, that's why separate ministry. Right? And we have noticed Chennai floods and last few events, faulty urban problem, urban planning, where the causes. In that here, when there is good understanding about it. So as a civil service aspirant, one is expected to understand the dynamism, right? The background first. How this has evolved, right? How it has developed, and what is the current status. Now from current status, you want to again move ahead, naturally, to correct the situation. What is the prospect in mind of the policy maker? The development. Right? So this is one part which is categorized as GS. Besides globalization, society and so on. Another and very important part, which is once again GS, we call it international relations. India is one member of the world community. India has neighbors. India has Pakistan and China. Neighbors cannot be changed. You cannot change your neighbor. You have to leave your house, but you can change the location. So we cannot change our neighbor. We have to make his enjoy, despite differences. This can be the only way out. So India's relation with the rest of the world, particularly the neighbors, as well as the significant countries of the world. Now, who are the significant countries? You can enumerate few. Right? There are more than 190 countries in the world. So, India's bilateral relations, India's relationship with the regional groups. What are the regional groups? The biggest group. Some biggest groups. Digital Corporation, India, Pakistan, and Bhutan, DP, and so on. So, what kind of relationship India enjoys in this? So, India is claiming one Security Council seat in United Nations. You might have heard. You might have noticed it in some article of newspaper. But have you ever understood that what can be the change if we become member of Security Council? These are the things we are required to understand. Will be asked as a question, right? Then, when relating to India's interest, right? And India's diaspora. Diaspora means those who are living outside India. Indians living outside India, NRIs, non-resident Indians, right? So we have Ministry of Overseas Indian Affairs. We classify it as science and technology. Science and technology. Now, technology is application of science, principles developed in science. What is technology? Application of principles and theories developed in science. Right? That's why we have many technology branches now. Hybrid technology is another form of technology. Right? Now, but important to understand at the outset that the intention is not to ask the complex technological kind of question. Right? Suppose you are studying space technology and you are learning about the satellites. Now no question will be there which can ask you the various configuration of the satellites, right? How these rockets are made. So that kind of question will not be there. In that case, what will be there? What is the intention of the UPSC from the student? That they understand the latest development in the field of technology, and some fields are mentioned and they are IT, space, computers, robotics, nanotechnology, biotechnology, intellectual property, etc. As not purely students of science and technology, but as a generalist of, right? So one temptation has to be avoided. Suppose a technologist is going to write the exam. Suppose you have done some advanced course in robot science, right? Or in information technology, very common. When the question of computing is asked, diagrams that can be displayed in the script, because that will be counterproductive. Why that will be counterproductive? Because the examiner is not a technologist. The examiner is having some guideline on the basis of which he is evaluating you, your script. Right? So this becomes important for the students to demarcate between the requirement of the questions appearing and avoiding, and thereby avoiding any technical kind of understanding. Right? That you can develop with some preparation. So environment, very important phenomena nowadays. Students require to understand climate change. There is no discipline in India called ethics, integrity and aptitude. In no university, in no college, there is a branch called Department of Ethics. Nowhere. There is no department in the country which has a study called Department of Ethics and Integrity. You will not find anywhere. Although ethics is one part which is inbuilt in every curriculum, in every syllabus. In class 10 also you might have heard, you might have learned about some ethical conduct. So that becomes general. But this is not a discipline, and this paper is devoted to it. 250 marks, paper number 4 of GS is named as Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. There is no study called Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude. Nowhere. But UPSC has made an innovation by devising the paper called Ethics in General Study. With what intention? To test the ethical, the moral and the integrity part while working as civil service officers. Right? How integrated you will be in your behavior in discharging your service, because we know corruption is a major problem which, despite laws, despite various mechanisms, we have not been able to overcome. Do you find that after Narendra Modi corruption has come down? Yes? Corruption has come down after June 2014? Because Narendra Modi has fought elections, and one of the important agenda was Mehengai and Bhrashtachar. And Congress was alleged at that time to be indulged in Swiss banking operations. Kaladan, Baba Ramdev is called. 4 lakh crore Kaladan is here. Black money in Swiss banks. No, 400 lakh crore. All imaginary figures, not backed by any rational calculation. But since it was election, some agenda has to be developed, and this is developed. Do you find any change in the practice of corruption in last nearly 1.5 years since the government is coming to power? If you have encountered some event, no. And UPSC is very sincere in its approach. It wants to test the ethical abilities of the candidate. For which purpose it has introduced one exclusive paper. It was not there earlier. Earlier, this paper was not there at all. And this paper is now there. And the questions are such that are intended to test what is called your ethical abilities. Right? We have laws, we have rules, we have various mechanisms, but we understand very clearly that despite existence of all this, the problem of corruption is not properly tackled. And those who are lawmakers, those who are law enforcers are indulged in law breaking. That is corruption. Right? So this is one paper which is included, and UPSC wants you to prepare this paper and to behave ethically. What is the intention? To behave ethically. Where? Not in service, but in exam. Because this is first exam. There you have to behave ethically. How? By writing the answers. They will ask you, you are in charge of this department, your junior is doing this, what action you will take? Option 1, 2, 3 and 4 and why? Whatever option you choose, you have to justify it. And UPSC says, UPSC admits, there cannot be a clear-cut answer. Your answer may be some negative kind, but if justification is behind, it may be considered to be the best answer out of the 4 answers. Right? So this is one intention of UPSC, to judge you by your answers, whether you are morally and ethically correct person, you are having the righteousness in your aptitude or not. For this purpose, this paper is there. The qualifying paper, CSAT. Now what is CSAT? Why there were agitations throughout the country in the year 2014, and under compulsion the government had made it qualifying. So CSAT consists of what is called some broader classification: maths, what is called reasoning, English comprehensions, and decision making kind of syllabus. Maths, reasoning, data interpretation, numeracy, English comprehensions, etc. are the content. These are the papers in which the students from science, particularly engineering background, is considered to be the best scholar, because maths, etc. is understood better. Then arts students, then commerce students. So what has been observed, that during the last 3 years of operation under the new scheme, that is 2011 onwards, most of the students who were able to clear the... So this is also GS. Besides, in GS, we can enumerate by saying some other topics, and they can be environment, ecology, sustainable development, etc. Post-independence consolidation of India. What is post-independence consolidation? India got freedom in 47. India emerged as a new country, free from Britain. There were many princely states, for example Hyderabad, for example Saurashtra, for example Jammu and Kashmir, and so on. They are not part of British India. they were princely states ruled by the rulers, the king, queen, etc. Now, being part of Indian Union, it was not allowed under the Constitution of India to remain free. The options were given to join India or naturally the Pakistan. Some joined India, others joined Pakistan. So this is one part of understanding that UPSC expects the candidates to appreciate. Which is the last state that has emerged in India? Telangana. State reorganization is going on. It's not that in 1949 or in 1956, when the states, particularly in South India, were classified on the linguistic ground, Andhra Pradesh was created, separated from Tamil Nadu, right? The Tamil speaking people, right? Still, political consolidation is going on. 2014, Telangana, 2000, Jharkhand, Uttarakhand, Chhattisgarh. Some demands are raised from time to time. You may find a new state, right? So this dynamism UPSC wants you to expect, to understand. Why Telangana was created? This is one fact that Telangana was created on 2nd of June 2014. A simple fact. Factual answer is not expected. Understanding about why this has been created, under what procedure it has been created, is the expectation of UPSC, right? Then disasters, we have already noted that administration is in charge of management of disasters. So, the disasters which are operating from time to time, which are misfortunate events, are required to be handled, and the entire responsibilities lies on the shoulder of that. Being part of policy making, being part of policy execution, the team of disaster management manned by administrative people is there, and hence, as civil service aspiring candidate, the UPSC expects one to understand. Besides, extremism, terrorism, insurgency, etc. Internal security challenges, right? Primarily in the hinterland of India, the Naxalism, right? Then cyber security, money laundering, and so on, are some issues which draws challenges to the peaceful conduct of the country. From time to time, this emerges as a challenge. So UPSC wants you to understand why these challenges are emerging, what role can be played that can handle these challenges properly. Now, at the starting point, we have noticed that the intention of main exam is to test what is called intellectual abilities, is to test what is called the depth of understanding. This is common, this is here also, this is here also. And how they are going to test you, your intellectual traits, your understanding, your depth of understanding. And we noted that avoid technical facilities. Avoid the technicalities. And this is one part which is common. Although this is an MCQ exam, but the questions are of analytical kind. Facts and figures are there. But the facts and figures are to be analyzed. And upon proper analysis, you can draw some conclusion, and that conclusion will be giving you the guideline to mark a circle. Right? And how they are testing these abilities? Now I need not mention. This is through general studies. Right? 100% 80% general studies preliminary, more than 70% mains general studies, 100% interview general studies. That means they are going to test you to general studies. Now with length of the discussion, I hope we are aware what is general studies. Right? One question. The problems in India has increased or decreased since last, let's say, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. The problems in India has decreased or increased. Where is problems? Of course, related with administration. Right? State represents society for governance, and you are part of the state, being administrative officials. So problems has increased or decreased. In every field you notice. Although we have developed, we have enhanced facilities. Earlier there were 5 IITs, now 16 IITs. There are few colleges, less educational institutions, more colleges, more educational institutions, more health facilities. But still, do you find challenges? Right? Challenges, of course, has increased. We cannot say that challenges has come down. Challenges has increased. India is regarded as investment-starved country. We require $1,000 billion every year till next 15 years consecutively. So much shortage. Right? Black money operation, despite efforts, we cannot curtail it. Right? Poverty and employment still on rise. Naxalism is still on rise. Terrorism is still on rise. Law and order still not proper. Problems has increased. Now, problem has increased. And still they are in charge in the administration. There are IAS officers, there are IPS officers, there are other officers. Do you find them fools? Do you find them people with low quality? Have they passed IAS exam once upon a time?